Hi class, welcome back. In this last little section for social psych, we're going to be discussing conformity, obedience, and the power of the situation. Really, really good stuff. So let's jump into conformity and Solomon Asch. So conformity, I want you to think about conformity, obedience, and the power of the situation as an arc. Like we're going to start with just conforming to other people, being like other people, the social pressure, not peer pressure, but just social pressure to be the same as other people. Then we're going to do obedience, where someone tells us to do something. And then finally, the power of the situation to demand even unethical behavior. So conformity is the urge to modify behaviors, attitudes, beliefs, and opinions to match those of others. In other words, to be like the sheep. Sometimes we conform to the norms or standards of the social environment, such as the group to which we are connected. This is different from compliance, which generally occurs in response to a direct request. Conformity is generally unspoken. So if I say to you, I want you to sit on the floor and face the wall, that is, and you do it, that's compliance because I gave you a direct request. But if you walk into the classroom and everybody is already sitting on the floor facing the back wall, what are you likely to do? Probably not sit at your desk, right? You'll do what the other people are doing, even if you don't know why. We generally feel social pressure to be like the others. So we conform because we feel compelled to fit in and belong, not because we were told to do something. So you might try this the next time you're outside in a fairly crowded area. You might look up and keep your eyes toward the sky. What you're going to find is that some people will change their gazes to match yours, even though there's no other indication that something is happening above. Or you might conspire with one of your professors that you're going to be the first one in the room and you're going to sit maybe on the floor along the wall and see if other people will do it as well. So try something like that and see if other people conform. So conformity is adjusting your opinions, judgment, or behavior so that it matches that of other people or the norms of a social group or situation. So I want to talk a little bit about Solomon Asch. This is him, and he was doing studies on conformity. And so he would run studies where there was a group of people, and it might be 3, 4, 5, or 6 people in the group, and all of them were what's called confederates. In social psych, we often have people who are confederates, who are in on it with us. And so in his study, all but one person was a confederate and was in on it. The one person was the participant, and the seating was rigged. So that the participant was actually not one of the first people to be asked the questions that were going to be asked. And what that was happening was that they were given what's called a standard line, and then they were given some comparison lines. And the task they were given was compare this to these and decide which one matches. And the obvious answer is B, right? But the Confederates were instructed to pick the wrong line 12 out of 18 times. So you're sitting there and Confederate A says, oh, it matches C. And the second Confederate says it matches C. And the third Confederate says it matches A. And you're next. What are you going to do? So you might very well say C, like everybody else did, or you might say B and stick to your guns. But let's see what actually happened. So the results showed that about 76% of participants would conform to at least one wrong answer. 76% of people conformed at least once. Subjects would give the wrong answer. In other words, they would conform on 37% of the critical trials. Now keep in mind, there really is no ambiguity. This is clearly number 2. Okay, so if they conform, it is almost certainly not that they just think they've chosen the right answer. They're almost certainly choosing what they believe to be wrong. Now, these numbers sound bad, that 37% of the time you'll conform, 76% of people will conform at least once, but you have to remember that about two-thirds of the trials, participants would stick to their guns and give the right answer. But this is a very powerful lesson in conformity. So there are 3 types of conformity that I want you to be aware of, and I'm going to show you a cute little video in a minute called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire Fail. It just takes a few minutes to watch, so go ahead and watch that. So informational social influence is when we look to others when we feel uncertain. So in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, if you don't know what the answer is, you might poll the audience because you're not sure. And so you're looking to others because you're not sure of the answer, and you look to others for information. Normative social influence is feeling the pressure to be like others. So if everybody answers A, but you thought the answer was D, you're going to feel pressure to be like other people and to say A. These end up with the same result, that you're using other people's answers for your own, but here you're looking to them for information because you don't know the answer. Here you pick what they pick just because you want to be like them. And then finally, the reference group. This is the group that we either belong to or want to belong to or admire. So if a bunch of hoo-has that you don't care about say the wrong answer, maybe you don't conform. But if you really like those people and want to be part of their group, then you might actually conform. So that is the different aspects of social influence. So there are some factors that will increase conformity, increase the chances that you're just going to be like, heck with it, I'll give the wrong answer. Number one, if the group includes at least 3 other people who are unanimous. So if you're in the line comparison test and only one person gave the wrong answer, you're less likely to conform. But if 3 people in front of you give the wrong answer, then the pressure on you to conform goes way up. Number 2, if you have to report your decision in front of others and give your reasons. So what if 3 people in front of you conform and all say the wrong answer, but then you can just secretly write the answer on a piece of paper? You're going to be much more likely to stick to your guns. But if you have to report the decision in front of other people and you have to say, oh, well, I picked a different answer than you did, you're going to be more likely to conform. Number 3, you're more likely to conform if the task seems difficult to you. If it's a simple addition problem, you probably stick to your guns. If it's calculus, then maybe you don't. And then this relates to the third one, if you're unsure of your ability to perform the task. Maybe you're in the line comparison thing and you forgot your glasses that day and you're not sure you can even see it correctly, then you're going to be more likely to conform and go along with other people. There are conditions that decrease conformity. Certain conditions, like at least one other person in the group goes against everybody else. So maybe you're the last person in a group of 5, and let's say 3 people all pick the wrong answer, but one person picks your answer. You're much more likely to stick with your answer. And then the second factor is if group members come from individualistic cultures, this is where the individual is more important than group harmony, then they are less likely to conform than cultures that are collectivistic in nature. And in collectivistic cultures, you're going to get much more conformity because these are cultures that really don't want to disrupt the harmony of the group. All right, so I'm going to end this video here and have you watch Who Wants to Be a Millionaire Fail. It's just a few minutes long and it's pretty funny and cute, and it'll help you to think through these 3. I want you to look for informational social influence, normative social influence, and who's the reference group. All right, we'll see you in the next video.